Mark chapter 1 verses 16 to 18:16. As Jesus walked beside the Sea of Galilee, he saw Simon and his brother Andrew casting a net into the lake, for they were fishermen. 17. Come, follow me, Jesus said, and I will send you out to fish for people. 18. At once they left their nets and followed him.
19. When he had gone a little farther, he saw James son of Zebedee and his brother John in a boat, preparing their nets. 20. Without delay he called them, and they left their father Zebedee in the boat with the hired men and followed him.
Mark chapter 1 verses 21 to 22-21. They went to Capernaum, and when the Sabbath came, Jesus went into the synagogue and began to teach. 22. The people were amazed at his teaching, because he taught them as one who had authority, not as the teachers of the law.
Fam, quick test for you. If Google Maps tells you turn left, but your gut says, nah, who will you trust? Will you do the opposite of what Michael did in The Office and say that you'll trust your gut instead? Exactly. You won't turn into the water. We trust voices based on track record, because authority isn't about who talks the loudest. It's about who has been right before. We're surrounded by voices, friends, parents, coaches, influencers, algorithms that know you better than the people I just listed, or your youth leaders. So the real question isn't who's talking, it's who exactly has authority in my life. So we see in this week's look into Mark 1, shows us the moment people realized Jesus wasn't just like any other voice, not another teacher, not another opinion, not another trend on TikTok. But they didn't have TikTok back then. Something about him carried weight. Point 1, Jesus' authority sounds different. Mark 1:21-22. Jesus teaches in the synagogue, which is like the church of the day. People are stunned, not because he's flashy, not because he's dramatic, not because he's yelling. They're amazed because his words land. Matthew 7:29 explains it. He taught with real authority. Jesus doesn't quote other teachers to prove his point. He speaks like truth belongs to him. But you've met people like this. They don't say much, but when they do, you listen. That's Jesus. Second point, Jesus' authority calls ordinary people. We see this in Mark 1:16-20. Jesus walks up to fishermen and says, follow me. No interview, no background check, no fix your life first. Just the invitation. And that's wild. Especially in today's world when you have like 3 interviews for one job. Because most authority figures say, prove yourself. Jesus says, come with me. His authority isn't based on your potential, it's based on his purpose. Last point, Jesus' authority demands a response. Here's the moment that hits. Some follow immediately, others watch. Some walk away. Jesus never forces obedience, but he never leaves people neutral. When real authority speaks, you either step closer or step away. Standing still is still a decision. Fusion Pam. Ignoring Jesus is still choosing something else. Every voice you follow is shaping you. Every voice you trust is leading you somewhere. The question isn't, do I believe in authority? It's, whose authority am I living under? So, maybe you're like, so what? Maybe you're that someone that doesn't believe in Jesus yet. So what if Jesus actually has real authority? Well, then maybe he knows more about life than TikTok. He understands your pain better than your friends or your algorithm. He isn't here, or your social media influencer that you follow. He isn't here to judge you, but to lead you. You don't have to believe everything right now, but maybe don't dismiss him so quickly. What if Jesus isn't the problem? What if he's the answer you haven't listened to yet? And for those that you're following Jesus, so what does that mean if Jesus really has authority in your life? Then his words matter more than convenience. His way matters more than comfort. Following him means trust, not just agreement. Liking Jesus is easy. Letting him lead takes a cost. Authority shows up in obedience. So, Matthew 7:29 says, Jesus taught with real authority. That authority didn't come from a title, it came from truth. And 2,000 years later, his words still carry weight. So, here's the challenge for you this week. Before you make a decision, before you act, before you follow the loudest voice, it's a typical, you might say, no, that's typical. Ask this question: what would Jesus say about this? Because if he really has authority like no other, then he might be worth listening to. And that's just simply asking. It doesn't have to be a grandiose prayer. You can just be like, hey Jesus, what should I do? What's your opinion? And you can also find that opinion by reading the Bible. All right. See you later. Bye-bye.